Have you ever wondered whether the person you work with or work for is a psychopath? I accidentally became a stockbroker in 1996. 2 days into my bizarre new career, I realized that I'd somehow chanced upon a cash cow that was crying out to be milked by a cocky, risk-taking buffoon like myself. I just needed to learn the rules of the game, understand when those rules could be broken, and sit back and watch my bank balance grow exponentially. My name is Geraint Anderson. I worked for 12 years in the city. I then wrote a book about it called City Boy, which made everyone very, very upset with me. Which is why when I am walking through this town, quite often I feel like I'm just about to be beaten up. When I looked round my bank's hectic trading floor during that first week, it also quickly became apparent that the big swinging dicks were nearly all brash, confident madricks who had decided in their crib that defeat was not an option. The simple fact is that investment banks both attract and reward macho, hyper-competitive gamblers whose arrogance is only rivaled by their ruthlessness. Have you ever wondered whether the person you work with or work for is a psychopath? Well, I used to all the time when I was a stockbroker. And it turns out that I may have been onto something. I read a book last week called The Devil You Know, and I'm now ever more convinced that some of the investment bankers who used to ruin my day weren't just psychos in the jokey sense of the word, but actual living, breathing psychopaths. It turns out that around about 3% of men exhibit the character traits that would together officially classify them as a psychopath. And they're not all sitting around eating someone's liver with a nice little Chianti. Your typical psychopath is simply manipulative, charming, remorseless, arrogant, and lacking any conscience. They are generally single-minded risk-takers with a ruthless will to succeed who are unable to empathize with others and have no problem breaking rules or lying. They're not team players and are experts in office politics. They often have deviant lifestyles and only superficial relationships. That got me thinking about whether the city attracts psychos or simply brings out the worst in those it employs. Whilst banking is undoubtedly an appropriate career choice for psychos, I can say from personal experience that the city's all-pervasive, hyper-competitive, maximise your bonus at any cost mentality demands that we borderline psychos forget our more gentle human qualities as we ruthlessly strive to beat our colleagues. Last week, a large, well-respected hedge fund called Amaranth, crazy name, crazy company, lost around 2/3 of its value, $6 billion, in just a week or so as a result of its bet that the US gas price would go up proved erroneous. Several other funds had followed suit. Now, this huge punt was itself based on the assumption that hurricanes would cause gas supply disruptions around this time of year. So investors have lost over half their cash because a few comedians took a bet on US weather conditions. Haven't these peoples ever heard about the effect a butterfly flapping its wings in China? There we were on Tuesday morning, watching our screens turn blood red, with one unspoken question reverberating around the office. Is this the beginning of the end of the good times? The common feeling we all share is one of total powerlessness. We all stare at our Reuters screens like rabbits in the headlight and are all immediately transformed from masters of the universe to impotent muppets. This is one of the reasons I quite like these events. They remind the city's arrogant, braying buffoons of the concept of humility, a concept most of them have barely ever heard of. These events also remind us all what a strange, irrational beast the market is. The market is the product of human emotions, and the two principal emotions that we brokers feel are fear and greed. Combine these with a herd mentality, and events like last Tuesday's can happen without any convincing, rational explanation. Apparently, Andrew Mold, a successful, popular salesman at Deutsche Bank, went up to the restaurant on Sunday wearing his finest Hugo Boss suit, ordered a glass of champagne, and then leapt to his death from the 8-story roof terrace. Whilst it is impossible to guess the precise reasons why anyone takes their own life, speculation is that Andrew feared he was going to be fired following an IT prank. American psychologists have already coined a new word, econicide, to describe the suicides brought about by the financial crisis. And even if poor Andrew's death was not connected to the recent recession, deaths of other financiers, including Adolf Merkle, a German billionaire who threw himself in front of a train after having lost almost £500 million, and Hubert Boumeister, the former chief financial officer of ABN AMRO, who shot himself having lost his job. The sad thing is that suicide is a permanent solution to what is often a temporary problem. Of course, it's not just bankers and millionaires who've been killing themselves due to losing cash or their job. But one lesson is that the alpha male, seemingly having it all, is actually as vulnerable as the rest of us.